To the family out there listening, welcome back to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio. We are back with the living legend, Brother Dick Gregory. Welcome back to the show. How you doing, brother?
God bless you, my brother. Peace and love to you and the family and to all you listeners. And just let me say thank you, because it is these type of shows. I believe it might be too late, but if this country can be saved, it's these type of shows. And if the people who get the blame for where this country is going to be NBC, CBS, your network news, and your top cops in the major cities, and the FBI do things that would make Hitler blush. But we don't know that because we're just a bunch of punks. We scared. We got some Negroes to mess with and some poor white folks to mess with, but that day is just about over. And so when Americans think that they are free and we have a democracy, that just one question: if our democracy is so good, how come we have to run all over the world with a gun trying to force it down people's throats? Anything good, you don't have to force on people. If you ask prostitutes. Do they stand out in front of the whole house with a gun and say, "Come in here," and they give you a treat? That's America. You know, we are caught up in this insane mess. We have schools called good schools and bad schools. You go all over Russia, go to China, go to anywhere, and see if they have good schools and bad schools. Huh? Just ask yourself that question: are there good schools and bad schools? Then what kind of people have good schools and bad schools? If we go to Ole Miss today and ask for change for $1 in dimes, they'll give it to us 10 dimes.
Mm-hmm.
If we go to Harvard University and ask for change for $1 in dimes, they'll give us 10 dimes.
Mm-hmm.
I live in a country that have more unification and changing my dollar than messing with my mind. Mm-hmm. And we don't know that. And it is just about over, the lies that they tell people. Do you know it's hard to believe, and most folks in the country is too ignorant to explain it to them, that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment gave black men a legal right to vote before a white woman had the right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about that, man. I mean, we didn't vote, but the law was there. It's like I got $1 billion in the bank, but some forces won't let me come in and get it, but it's mine. They can't use it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that meant that white woman, that's his daughter, that's his wife, that's his girlfriend, that's his mother, got the right to vote in 1921. Not out the goodness of this white boy's heart. She fought for it. She went to jail. Some of them died. Which means this white woman, who he calls Miss Precious, every time one of them get killed, they talk about the beautiful. Do they ever kill ugly white women?
Mm.
And then 1920, which means the white woman didn't get the right to vote to 1920, which means she couldn't serve on a jury.
Right.
Which means if she was accused of murder or framed, she couldn't get a jury of her peers.
Wow. Yeah.
And we don't understand how evil and vicious this psychopath is. Huh? I mean, this is a game. And so, and so that's what you get when you play a game. You see, God is not the Catholic Church. The universal God is not the Baptist Church. The universal God is like the Muslim Church. The universal God is the God that put the sun in the sky and filled up the oceans with water. And yet we so stupid, we run around praying to something that has no power. The Catholic Church can't fill up an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? And so when you stop and think about, you know, what this thing is about, and if you ever heard me speak, you'll always hear me say the two most strongest forces in the history of America has always been the black woman and the black church.
Definitely heard.
It's the church. The church. See, God's name, the real God, is I am. And so I don't care what Christianity you are. When you finish saying the Lord's Prayer, you say, Amen. That's I am. That's the vibration. You know, so we sit here and pull. My mother walked into your studio today. Oh, you would just think God just spit her out. That's how precious she is and how spiritual and beautiful. But if you try to convince my mother that Jesus Christ wasn't a Christian, she would stomp you to death. That's the ignorance. She never knew that Bible she had that she loved. She never knew that King James was King of England. She didn't know that. And she didn't know that King James was such a weird, strange homosexual. He hated women so bad he killed his mother.
Yeah.
And his brother was Lord Buckingham, who Buckingham Palace is named after.
Right.
And they run around hating up on gays and didn't know the book they reading.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is that's about to come to an end. That's over.
Well, you know, speaking of black women, Dick Gregory, everybody has been wanting me to, been getting emails. They've been wanting me to talk to you about the situation with Sandra Bland.
Well, you said, well, first let me say this here.
Yes.
Black folks is really not qualified to talk about, because as long as they've been watching this, they still got to have somebody convince them she was murdered, and she was murdered before she was in that jail. Okay? Damn it, it's right here with you. How long do your mother have to cook bacon before you start smelling it, huh? And wonder what it is, huh? I mean, think about that, man. Here's a woman. Let me tell you. If I'm in your area and we're going to have a little chat and go over some research, before I get in your car, man, when we leave the restaurant, I go to the back and see if your license plate is on. Because they'll screw your license plate off. Now they got a reason for probable cause to stop you. Okay? That's how this works, man. Let me tell you, we worked on a case in Riverside, California, 90 miles outside of L.A., where a black woman was driving. She's an epileptic. And she had her nephew in the car, and she felt a seizure coming on. So she just parked the car and got out and flagged some people down, which happened to be this white man. And she told him, he said, I'm fixing to have an epileptic seizure, and here's my address and everything, and I wonder if you would take my nephew to her house and tell her where I am. And he said, oh, sure. And so meanwhile, he got in the car to go out to the mother. And so the mother got in her car and rushed to the address that she left. And she was in a seizure. She locked the doors, and she's in this seizure. So they couldn't get the door open. And, you know, when you have epilepsy, you can bite your tongue off, you know.
Right.
So she called the police. Can you imagine being the parent of a child that you called the police, and they came and shot that woman through the head 14 times?
Wow.
14 times?
14, wow.
No, not that. The fact that it keeps happening and we keep saying, oh, my God, come on, yo, what kind of fools are y'all, huh? Now, let me tell you what happened. How the universe, not the Catholic Church or the Baptist Church, universal God, the cop threw a gun in the window after they shot her. Cop, they do this all the time. And then we always suckle. You hear black folks say, well, all the cops on there, all the ones I know of. I've never heard nobody say all the Nazis is not bad. Okay? Ask the Jews what they thought about it. And so, consequently, here's what happens. You see, what they do, you see, if I don't like you, I don't care what happens to you. I don't care. And so this is what you got in America. You got white folks. But you see, what most folks don't know, the universal law, a damn cat can smell when the dog turned the corner and if their life is threatened. We have the same power. Everybody has the power. You know if your mother's cooking bacon or baking a turkey, huh?
Right.
But we've been so busy trying to be liked and pleased, we ignore the smell. But if white people just come and visit, the ones that they think they're so good. I mean, that's the one thing about Trump. He's proven the same thing that George Wallace proved. When George Wallace decided to run in 1968, he was getting bigger crowds up north than he was in the South. Because we don't want to believe racism. Because black folks don't tell y'all. Huh? They play games. And we will pay for those games, okay? And so somewhere, when you stop and think about it's a game. And it's over. And so when we look at that incident, there's a woman that pulled over, and you saw the discrepancies in the tape.
Right. Yeah.
Not hear no Dick Gregory on the radio. You saw them ignorant thug cops, huh? Showed us two different tapes. Two different tapes. They showed this mystery car that kept following and turning around, and nobody's explained that. Okay? Nobody's explained that. And so you keep asking yourself, wait a minute. And so I got a country that feels about me, and they don't know it. Like the Nazis felt about the Jews. They knew it. There's a universal God that took down some Nazis who had the most powerful military, the most powerful scientists. They took down great scientists. Wow. So you can mess with the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, and all that. And most folks don't even know what they're doing. When they say Catholics, Christians, and Jews, well, then the Catholics must not be Christians, or you wouldn't have to say Catholics, Christians, and Jews.
Right.
My mother told me that Santa Claus was a white boy, not the Ku Klux Klan. I got that out of my house, and my mama bought the toys. And so when you sit around and think about, born 1932, man, I'm over 80 years old, and I used to hear black Christian women sitting around saying, oh, it's wonderful. Tony's going to the Army. Oh, he can get an education when he come back. What type of God do you believe in that it's okay for a child of yours to go to war? Not because they love America. If you white folks think black folks love America, then next 4th of July, 90% of all flags sold every year is sold 2 weeks before the 4th of July. Go to Harlem, go to the South Side, go to the black neighborhood and see if we got that flag. Right. It's so easy to be tricked. So you can always treat somebody who hates you and don't know they hate you. And so consequently, you hear people say, well, all cops are not bad. Well, you got doctors get arrested for putting women to sleep and then having sex with them. And then nobody say, oh, doctors is not bad. You got lawyers get this far. Nobody say, oh, lawyers not bad. So what is it in your subconscious mind that you know you lying?
Right.
What is it, huh? How do you white folks sit by and look at Garner, who died from a chokehold, and let them give him $6 million, and you still can hide behind your hatred? You still think I was in the wrong, but you just paid him?
Right.
And it happens over and over and over. So let me finish this one story, and then we get to all this other stuff. So all at once now, in in California, Riverside. The mother calls the police come there and shoot this girl dead in front of her. Now everybody says, oh, she must have been doing something wrong. Well, here's how the universe works. The cops do what they do a lot of times. After they shoot you, they throw a gun in the car. Well, had they not said we had no choice, she was shooting at us, right?
Yeah.
But the gun they threw in the car didn't have a pin in it. Okay?
Okay.
Had he said she aimed the gun at us, but they didn't. So now we asked for the drug test. You know, somebody's killed, cops will take a drug test, alcohol test. Oh, the one who did the shooting, he said, oh, yeah, here's spilled over, and they're taking it to the lab. And so then all at once, when the truth comes out, the one cop, their partners, was at his birthday party. And that's when the call came through, and they angry because this black woman interrupted the party, and that's why they shot her dead.
Wow.
That's why they shot her. No. We men. We black men will go all over the world, kill Vietnamese, rape their women. And if you think we don't do the same thing that trifling white boy do, we rape the little girls, we do all of that. But the one question we never ask, with all the medical advance we have in America, and all the money we have in America for research, and we got veterans, 46 every day commit suicide. How come the Vietnamese don't commit? They don't have no Harvard to Yale. How come the people in Iraq is not committing suicide? What is that? Well, I don't care what religion you are or no religion. If you're born in America, from a little child, you hear him talking about thou shalt not kill. And it's there. And when you go to war and you're doing all that killing, right underneath that is a layer say thou shalt not kill. That's how come they haven't figured out the suicides.
Okay.
That's why they haven't figured out the suicides. And you sit and those soldiers, all y'all walk around with your chest up. Well, look, one day this week, if you ever TV, pull up the Nazis and see if you can march with your chest out like they did. Oh, watch them walk down the street with all that stuff. That don't mean nothing to the universal God who made the sun and the moon and the rain and every grain of sand. Okay? So you can play your games and you have your bands and they be doing all the more crazy things. But don't nobody like you. Why do you think veterans is dying? Why do you think the doctors that come to this country that's not good doctors, they sit in the VA hospitals? Why do you think, especially you veterans that's listening, you heard the testimonies. You wait 2 years to get an appointment, and you think nobody loves a killer? I don't care what you hide it under, especially for your reason for going, especially you black folk, You can't get a job till you go to the military. Willing to kill somebody and think you believe in some kind of Jesus, some kind of God. And so when you stop and look and think, so then we get back to the sister. We saw him pull over. Then I don't care what kind of racist hater of black folks you are, something have to happen when you realize that woman got pulled over because of a signal. And how many of you all listening to me know that he had already gave her the ticket? Did you know that, brother?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you hear me? He had already wrote her the ticket, which was a warning. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He had no right taking off the car. She already got the ticket. It's a warning. And so you look at that, and that piece should be showed to all black children so they can see that and explain it to them. Here's what happened. Look at this real good. Now 3 days later, she's dead, and they tell us, well, and the autopsy showed a whole lot of marijuana in her system. Marijuana leaves your body in 24 hours. Fool, huh? Are you serious? But yet and still, they can put anything down when you're dealing with a black person, and we buy it. Huh? So then Mom said, well, we're going to come in, and you heard them say they want an independent autopsy?
Right, yeah, I heard that.
Well, an independent autopsy don't mean you let the same people do the autopsy that did the first one. It means you bring an independent person in to do the autopsy. That county where they did the autopsy is the county where they did the independent one. Huh?
Oh, man.
And they said her death, the autopsy shows her death do not fit the pattern of somebody who had hanged themselves. Well, come on, white boy. A trash bag? Do you know how many black folks have trash bags? Do you know when you take that trash bag out, it's supposed to hold 30 pounds? And as you take it out, sometimes it tears. So you tell me here's a woman that weighs 170-some pounds, and that trash bag didn't carry when she wrapped it around her neck. Thank God that you let them fools. Now, here's the deal we'll make. You folks that's listening, at 12 noon every day, and you're going to see your power. Pray to the universal God. Just a simple prayer that the truth come out. Now, you're not saying pray that the cop will be found guilty. You can't play with the real God like that. Pray that, the young lady, the truth. Just pray that the truth come out. You're not sending no special prayer. If the truth is nothing happened, that's what you asked in the real God. And I don't know if y'all know, you can't play with the real God like you can play with that church, okay? And then you see what happens in 3 days. Then you'll know your power. You see what, and they say, the FBI, look at the FBI do stuff in this country that would make the Nazis blush. The Nazis wouldn't dare do the stuff in Germany that they do here. The last day of the march from Selma to Montgomery, we was there, and I had a plane I had rented to fly in, a private plane. So going back to the airport, I get there and I see people looking funny, and that's when they killed Mrs. LaRusso. After it was over, and then we find out it was 3 FBI agents in the car when that redneck killed her. So then when we get to get a little justice and ask, why were you FBI agents in the car and didn't stop us? That wasn't our job. We were undercover.
Wow.
When Medgar Evers got killed, that's personal to me, because had my son not died, I'd have been there with him that night to take that hit.
Wow.
And so the way Della Beckwith, poor redneck white boy, had no money, and where he got the money to hire a lawyer, put up the bail, John Kennedy, JFK, out of all the land on the planet, he decided to buy a piece of land for $50,000 to build a post office, and Della Beckwith owned that land. That's how he beat that case for so long. That's where he got the money from.
Okay.
Good old John. And this America that y'all talk about. Well, let me explain some things to you about your America. 1 minute. Hold it. I've got to find something I'm looking for here. Hold it 1 second. I just dropped something.
Sure.
Yeah, I got it. Now, before there was a September the 11th World Trade Building, the greatest domestic terror we had was in Oklahoma.
Right.
And so, now this is in one of the most conservative papers And I want you all to know that these conservative talk show hosts, what's the big one's name? I can't think of it right now. The big one. They got caught with the Oxycontin.
I can't think of it.
Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, Limbaugh. Yeah.
Everything I'm telling you, those dogs know about it, but they punks. They will never mention it because they know they will die. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm fixing to read to you here came out of the Washington Times. And you people that want to keep the records, is the most conservative paper in America. It's in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Mm-hmm. Washington Times, Wednesday, April the 22nd, 1998. Headlines. FBI paid mortgage on Nichols' home. That's Terry Nichols. This is a white paper. The second, the Washington Post and the Washington Times. The FBI made mortgage payments on Terry Nichols' home after he was arrested and before he was convicted on conspiring to blow up the Oklahoma Federal Building. Court records show. Now listen what the Justice Department said. A Justice Department spokeswoman said she did not know immediately why the government was making his mortgage payments. No, she didn't know how much. Now, she didn't say this is not true.
Right, yeah.
And see, I'm laughing because I grew up, I thought white folks was free. I know white folks would take this stuff. I said, oh, God, if I can just be white. If they offered it to me, I'd throw it away. Because y'all ain't free. Now, listen to this. She said she didn't know how much the amount. The mortgage payments was disclosed in a court filing Monday by Nichols' lawyer, who argued that their client does not have sufficient assets to pay a fine or restitution as the prosecutor wanted. You don't deal with that any way you want. I couldn't care less. This is your America, and you're such a punk and you're so scared, you wouldn't dare challenge this because you know they would blow your brains out. So you got a little black man. The only reason I wasn't on welfare wasn't invented. Grew up in St. Louis. Never had no idea I finished high school. And I'm giving you stuff that the FBI know about.
Right.
But you will die just like them Jews died. Because you're dealing with a system more vicious than what Hitler had. The hatred. And most of y'all don't even know that France is more anti-Semitic right now as we talk than Hitler and the Nazis ever were.
France.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
For those of you have a computer close by you?
I don't have it with me today, no.
Hey, don't worry about it, but those of you all listen, once you pull this up, this past Christmas, the 3 weeks before last Christmas, the Sears and Roebuck, it puts this little Christmas gift bag out. And the little ring that you put on your finger had a swatch sticker on it.
Right, I remember you telling me that. Right.
Well, what's important is the Anti-Defamation League ain't told you. They told them Jews to shut up. Not once did I hear this. And then the next week, the week before Christmas, Walgreens drugstore got busted because they had Hanukkah wrapping paper.
Right.
And one lady bought it and she carried it home. I was just looking at it and saw all of these swatch stickers all the way through it. Where's the Anti-Defamation League? Especially for those of y'all that think Jews have power. Not one time did you hear this? And so what I'm saying is that somewhere, ISIS ain't nothing but us. Do you really stupid enough to believe, well, one thing happened last week, and another thing happened yesterday. Pluto, on July the 14th, we sent a rocket. 9 years ago, that rocket blasted off with an assignment that 9 years later, on July the 14th, it will have traveled billions of miles to take pictures of Pluto. And y'all are so stupid. We got that type of technology, but we didn't see that little punk putting the military together. You pay for it. Do you know what kind of technology we have? And then today, wake up this morning and there's a paper that talk about the planet we discovered that look like us.
Yeah, Earth 2.0. That's what they're calling it. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, wait a minute. You think they just knowing about? You think they just let us know, or have they already done landed up there?
Right.
Have they already landed? And so that's what I'm saying. We have a train. I guess that train's 20 years old now. Underground that goes from California to New York in 48 minutes, and I couldn't give a damn, but you folks out there that's ignorant to what's going on, think about what I just said, because I learned a long time ago, truth don't have to be validated by your ignorance, okay? And there's another train underwater, go from New York to Europe, in Paris, in 57 minutes.
57 minutes, wow.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
And so I've been blessed, because got a lot of people that do the mess, and they don't like they're doing it, but they're doing it so they can feed their family. But they come and they bring the stuff to me. And you can't trick me. You can get on this radio show. I'll be on radio show. FBI be calling in. I can pick up the vibration on who they are. And so now let's go back to last night at the movie.
The shooting you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's the same MO. All the ones that go by his house and they look at stuff and they find all kinds of stuff after it happens.
Right.
After it happens. And so now all day long we're looking at the two people that was killed and hearing them say nice things about them. But it helps get that news off the front page of the paper of the black woman, because they made too many mistakes on that one.
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
It gives the FBI time to come in and try to clean it up. And what was it? I'm sure we talked about it. What am I looking for? When we're looking at the Boston Marathon bomber.
Right.
The Boston Marathon bomber. And they sent the FBI in to make sure that the real stuff didn't get out. So they took two FBI agents and sent in, and nobody could talk to anybody, none of the mayors, without it being cleared by these two agents. We call it national security.
National, yeah. You told me, I remember. Yeah.
Security. And these agents was did all the work and cleared everything before you could talk about it. And then the two FBI agents, when their work was over, they came back to Washington, D.C., to the headquarters. And 2 weeks later, they were killed.
They were killed, yeah.
They were killed, FBI agents. Well, you punks that's listening to this show, they will kill you. Huh? They will kill you, and it have to be a brother like me to get on a show like this here and show them where you were killed. Because you're not going to do it, and that old fake agency you work for, you know, if there is a thing called the devil or hell, there'd be so many of you FBI agents down there, just honest, good people who just see it, and there won't be no room for us. So what happens is, that's what happens when you live in a lie. When you live in a lie. You don't know it. Nobody will tell you. And then you have to look at radio shows like this here, because NBC is not going to tell you. NBC is not going to tell you.
You know what's one thing? I'm sorry to cut you off. I don't want to forget. One thing. I got a lot of emails to ask you. A lot of people, they told me next time I interview, they wanted to specifically ask you about Obama and this Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP. Do you have some information on that? Because they feel as though that gives them dictator-like powers or something like that. Do you?
No. Ho. That's why I wish you had your computer. I would tell you to look up executive order, President executive order signed by President Obama in 2012. If you have somebody you know, have them look it up and call and read it. And then, if y'all want to eat and sleep tonight, if somebody calls in with it, you don't want to hear it, don't. Because we're so stupid, we'll go and be checked and tell the doctor if it's cancer. I don't want to know.
Right.
If it's cancer, I do not want to know about it. And so I was kind of looking for the paper. So if you know anybody, because you can slip away from the phone and call them and tell them to look Executive Order 13603. Executive Order 13603. And when if you know them, someone who got a computer close by, and then we can read it to the people, and they will see. But meanwhile, let me show you this here. Y'all talking about an election. And those of y'all that's sitting next to your computer, when we look at Donald Trump, first Donald Trump broke. Donald Trump ain't never owned none of that stuff. That was CIA, drug money, and mob money.
Oh, yeah?
You know, none of those casinos he owned is working now. They all went bankrupt, right?
Right, I heard that, yeah.
I know some of you older folks out there remember when Donald Trump bought the Eastern Shuttle that flew from New York to Washington, Washington to Boston, New York to Boston. He lost that. All them Trump tires, that's nothing but laundry drug money, man.
Wow.
You don't no rich person sit up and talk about, I work $9 billion. Who you telling that to? You don't take a Rolls Royce to welfare areas. You hang out with with Rolls Royce people. Now, here's what's happening. John McCain was sentenced by military court to die before a firing squad in America. And Richard Nixon canceled it. Now, I know this, the New York Times, I know this here, and Trump don't know this. What kind of trick is this? McCain even wrote the book, Something to My Father, where he apologized to his dad. And he made a deal with the North and General Giap, a guy I know. General Giap, who 30, 40 years ago wrote a book, said, People's War, People's Army. Give me an army that's willing to die, and I will destroy any army that's willing to kill. And he did that. And John McCain made a deal when he was captured that if y'all take me back to Hanoi and put me in the hospital that you all go to, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Okay? And they did. And after he told them that, the American pilot's death increased 67% within 3 days. That's John McCain. Wow. But you're all so busy hating up on folks that you don't know just because you don't like. But this punk, you can look at his eyes and tell him he's a hoodlum and a thug and a murderer. Huh? Punch it up. Punch it up. I know this, and Trump don't know this. And Trump gonna do the same thing that George Wallace did. He ran in '68 and had bigger crowds up north and down south. That's what he's getting now. That's what Trump's getting. All you thugs, all you racist, wimpy, think you know some God? And I don't use God as a pit bull. This is where this is going. Or, see, if you had that piece, or if somebody could find it and call in, Executive Order 13603, then you might see.
Yeah. I just hold up because I text somebody because my internet. But somebody texted me. Let me just read this real quick.
Okay.
My buddy, shout out to Pete. He just texted me this on my phone. It says the TPP, which has been called NAFTA on steroids, is part of a corporate managed trade framework that at the very least guarantees to balloon the massive $400 billion U.S. trade deficit. That's
not it.
Oh, that's not it.
That's Executive Order.
Oh, so he sent me the wrong thing.
13603. As we sit here now, that's a law. It gives Obama today the right to sign and declare himself president for life. And I see how y'all old thugs like that, huh? I wanted to hear you read it, so that's a law. Huh? And y'all sitting around here hating up and playing your little game. Well, you better play it quick and you better play it fast. Because research, but you have to hear the wording. Huh? You have to hear the wording. And Russ Limbaugh and all of them, they know but punk. They know this, the same thing I know. They wouldn't dare mention it. They wouldn't dare mention it at all. And those of you that's sitting out there, turn on your computer and pull it up and read it for yourself. And then go kiss your children and your wife and your grandmother and them to sleep. Kiss them, because it can happen any day. Trump could be killed. And everybody think a Mexican did it or a black person did it. And then the military comes out with their provocateurs and start riding. And then 13603 comes into law. Comes into law. Suspend the Senate and suspend the Congress.
Wow.
Okay? That's so good. So they might send it to them. When you do, you just read it to the folks if they get it here before we go off. And so you look at the Greek banks, a country the size of Ohio, then upset the whole world. The whole world. And all you folks that are sitting here think Greece is too far away. That's where your pension money is. That's where your old age pension money is, huh?
In Greece? Yeah.
Huh? Listen to this. You see, what you do with pension money is you invest it, all them trillions of dollars of American pension money, You think it's sitting somewhere in a bank waiting for you to get old? They invest that money.
Right.
Having money that's not invested is like having ice cream on a hot summer day and your ice cream machine go out. You got to eat it or watch it melt, huh? No. So the pension money is handled by the J.C. Morgan Bank. J.P. Morgan, huh? J.P. Morgan Bank, right? And the guy that handles it in the J.P. Morgan Bank is Jimmy Lee. So with all your pension money left, that's why the president the other day, when nobody looking, gave Greece a check for $100 billion.
$100 billion.
Now, in the Wall Street Journal, Wall Street Journal, I'm trying to see the date here. Wall Street Journal, that's the one of the number one financial papers in the world. 2 weeks ago, Jimmy Lee, famed J.P. Morgan deal maker. They killed him 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
This y'all's pension money messed up. They call him a dealer. Because if you go buy a car and your credit ain't good, you got to pay twice as much as somebody would get. But that's what he would do. He would put the money in places where their credit wasn't no good, so he get 1,000 times more. Well, Jimmy Lee, famed J.P. Morgan dealer. He's the deal maker. They just said died. They don't tell you he died on a treadmill. He on a treadmill. They fell dead on the treadmill. And so when you stop and think about the whole game, and you're all sitting here hating up on everything, and it's just about done slipped up on you now. And me too, I'm just as bad as you are. Every time I go buy a ticket, round trip first class, $43,000 to go to a health move, and they take money off my tax money and buy bombs and drones to kill women and children. The difference between me and you, I know I'm part of it. I'm just as filthy as you because I'm financing it. So when they fall on my wife and my children and grandchildren, I just look up to the real God and say, what took you so long, man? And so you white folks, and I want you black folks to hear this, I'm no cleaner than they are. You walk around thinking the white folks is vicious, but they going to die and you not. Oh, and this could happen in the next 3 weeks.
Let me read this here, Dick Gregory. I just received a text about the executive order. It says, how many of our readers knew that on March 16, 2012, the president signed an executive order giving himself access to dictatorial powers under the guise of national defense under authority of Defense Production Act of 1950. That
was Harry Truman. But they was doing some other stuff, and you build on it. And so they knocked all that out. And in the process, what you fixing to read, FEMA don't exist no more. Okay, go ahead.
This recent action could really be referred to as an update of the EO 11858, executed on May 7, 1975. The president authorizes himself to take almost complete control of the country using national defense or even a peacetime preparation for national defense as an excuse for assuming dictatorial powers.
That's it. Okay. You don't need it because the other shit don't work. See, the one thing I like, and you know, there's a whole lot more to that, but they got a taste of it. No, let me just show you how this works. They can take your money. They can make you go to work. First, they're going to cut your food off. And when you read that whole piece of y'all out there, you'll see They have jurisdiction over your food. They decide who's going to eat and who's not going to eat. And then you go to jail and work, and you will not get paid. That's where this is going. So y'all thought y'all was just dealing with some little nigger that y'all want to call the N-word. And I'm laughing because they're going to get me too. They know who I am. They're going to get me too. Or maybe that universe might say, hey, no, you've been doing a good job. It don't make me no difference. I know if you live with filth, you become filthy. Most black folk don't know that, huh? If you ever pass by a paper mill, there is no stink like a paper mill, but the people that work there don't smell it.
Right.
America is your paper mill, and you don't smell it because that's where we're going. It's where they can kill a black woman right in front of your eyes. And then we go through all these changes. No. If you look at the Ferguson, and y'all can pull this up when they say he stole them cigars at that cigar shop. They got a picture on the internet, him coming out the door. He got on flip-flops and short pants. 15 minutes, he landed in the street dead. He got on long pants and Nike tennis.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Rice, the little 12-year-old that was shot dead in Cleveland. Punch it up. The woman said, we think it's a toy gun. And so when you see the pictures of him playing in that park, get a good look at it, because you see in the top of his head and the tops of the bill, and that comes from a satellite. Huh? You think some redneck, ignorant cracker got a satellite? Then the FBI always go in and they can't find nothing. They always go in and they can't find nothing. And so again, now we take Baltimore. They didn't say high school dropouts. They say high school students. And when you hate me and don't know it, you believe anything they tell you about me. And if those of you all that missed the rides in Baltimore, there's a movie out. Came out before Baltimore called Purge, word for word.
Right, I remember. Yeah.
They tell the young folks, you nice, you a day's rest, so just go out and kill folks and tear up the town. That's what happened in Baltimore. That's what happened in Baltimore. I think last time I was on, it was either you or Carl Nelson. I said the black police chief would be fired. You know he was fired the other day, don't you?
Wow. I didn't know that, no.
And the white police took over and the killing stopped. It was the police doing the killing in the first place. Now, they told us that our little children, high school, broke into the pharmacist and stole drugs. If any of you all ever had a prescription filled, when you take it to the pharmacists have to look around and find out where the stuff is. Pull one drawer open, another drawer, and all the drugs is on a lock and key. And you tell me them black children knew where it was?
Right.
And white folk don't feel bad, because most black folk bought that same story. Most black folk bought that same story. And so when you stop, I ran for president. How much time we got so I don't run over?
We got about 15 minutes left.
Okay. Well, I ran for president in 1968. The Wall Street Journal, which was Friday. The election was Tuesday. Friday. I want y'all to hear this because you can pull it up. It says, election computers goofed. Gave Gregory 9 million votes. Do you know they had to shut all the computers down because it was projecting Dick Gregory as the president-elect, and none of your thug, punk, ungodly, spiritual fools knew it. The Wall Street Journal. Okay? And then they go on to say, New York, some machines just aren't to be believe. Check the big computer in New York City that was designated to compile the results on Tuesday night's general election. At one point early yesterday, it showed Dick Gregory had got 9 million votes in the state of Pennsylvania.
Wow. 9 million. Yeah.
Used to tampering with people's freedom. Wait till your time. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah. 9 million votes.
In just one state.
In
so
one
the
state,
computers dealing with numbers, it kept saying. And then it says CBS anchor Walter Cronkite, after the error was pointed out to him, he apologized. I knew him well. I said, man, punk, you know damn good and well what happened, and you just go and lie. All y'all are the problems, huh? Now y'all can punch it up. Wall Street Journal. I didn't say Jet Magazine.
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal. Friday, November the 7th. Huh? Somewhere. And so what I'm saying is that somewhere when you stop, and then we go to South Carolina, the South Carolina, July the 17th, the massacre. July 17th, the massacre. Now, hear me now. Listen to me, y'all. The massacre. That church in South Carolina was founded by Divine Vince Virgie and there's two of them, him and the black guy who, let me see if I have it here, Morris Brown, who the college is named after. They was planning on overthrowing. And somebody snitched. And that day, on the 17th, they lined 16 of them up in front of the church and killed them all, except Morris Brown. So did he snitch? Now, that church invented Juneteenth. Did you know that?
Right, yeah, right.
And Juneteenth is celebrated the freedom of the slaves. And they celebrated the 15th July, the
16th and 17th.
15th, 16th, and 17th. So the last day of the celebration, that old ignorant white boy who ain't never been to no school, that's the day he made the massacre. How'd he know that's the last day of Juneteenth? How'd he know that black churches had prayer vigils on Wednesday, huh? How'd he know that, huh? He said, I want to kill me some black folks. So he drove 110 miles. You mean all them black folks in the little town where he lived? He wouldn't go into the church on Sunday and start shooting up everybody in the balcony. He comes all the way to there. And if you've watched it, you can punch it up. You see his car parked in the parking lot. But, you know, black churches, in order to get insurance, if you're in the black community, you have to pay more, or you have to guarantee them that you're going to have cameras on the parking lot inside the church. So those cameras didn't show him coming in or leaving, just showed his car parked there. Inside the church, when you saw him walk inside the church, right next to the door and ask for the minister, but the cameras who's owned by the church, somebody shut them off before the massacre? 9 people. And did you see where the grandmother told her 5-year-old grandchild to play dead? Did you see
play
that?
Dead, yeah.
Now, let me tell you, say that to your audience. She told the 5-year-old to do what?
Play dead.
Okay. You know, she was killed, the grandmother.
Yeah.
So then who told the world she told the 5-year-old child?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, don't just say,
You got a point. You got a point.
Did the 5-year-old child hold a press conference and everything with my grandma? Could you have a 5-year-old child in that mess and hear all that shooting and that child not screaming and hollering?
Yeah.
And you know the black woman that said he wasn't going to kill me? You saw that? He wanted me to tell the world?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. I'm way good.
If I took up that investigation, she the first one I'd arrest. You know why?
Why?
She had to know him. Here's some strange, ignorant, hateful white boy going to kill everybody, but he's not going to kill you, and you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
And so after he reloaded the 5th time, she said, why are you doing this? Come on, man. I've been around black women all my life. What kind of black woman is you? What planet you from? You didn't faint? You stood there because you believed him? Come on, punk. Huh? And we ain't seen her on TV, huh?
No.
She like the top of the news, huh? Okay. And then so what I'm saying is, you look at that. His wife and his 5-year-old child was in the office. They heard all the mess, and she called the police at 9:20. They didn't get there till close to 11 o'clock, but the FBI showed up 10 minutes after the call. So,
wow.
Okay, so anyway, this is
But before we hang up,
no. Before that, one other thing. Before that, one other thing. Here. Now the shooting was on the 17th, right?
Yeah.
So
June
2 days
17th.
after that would have been what? The 19th?
Yeah.
The 19th. The 19th. Okay. And no American paper ran this story that I'm fixing to read to you. No American paper ran this story here. And it says, I'll pull it up here. Got it here somewhere. Well, I thought I did. But here's what it says. On the 19th, that's 2 days after the massacre, right? 19th. The Justice Department gave the 9 families $29 million. Have you ever heard that story?
No, I did not. No.
Because it never ran in America.
Say that again, brother. They gave them how much?
$3.2 million per family. You hear me?
Yeah.
And you didn't hear it? You Americans, you think you live in the land of the free? Do you know how long it takes the government to write out a check for $2.29 million?
Man.
So here we go here. Now, if you want to pull it up, you can't pull it up in American paper. You got to pull it up in the Newsweek Foreign Service. Newsweek Wire. Now listen to this now. U.S. to fast-track $29 million to help Charleston shooting victims. Are y'all crazy? You white folks? Are you out your mind? Not one American paper. They was killed on the 17th. The checks went out on 19th. Okay. Now here's the London paper. Same thing. U.S. fast track $29 million to help Charleston shooting. What are they hiding? What was that chump change payoff for? So y'all go ahead. Now you was gonna ask me a question before it's over.
Well, yeah. Before we end it, I just wanted to ask you if you had any more information on this new Earth, because I see it all over the internet, and it just popped up today.
The new what?
This new Earth that they said they found. This Earth.
Oh yeah, but wait. Let me do this for you first. Yeah. New York Times. 1.5 million black men are missing. Did you hear me?
Yeah, 1.5 million black men are missing.
Now, that don't mean they're in jail, because in jail you ain't called missing.
Right.
Don't mean you just left home, left your wife and your family. That's not missing. So where are they? Could they be at that new earth that we're talking about?
Interesting. Very interesting.
No, but you got to pull it up and read it. You got to read it. Okay? Black men are missing. Huh? Black men are missing. For every 100 black women not in jail, there are only 83 black men out here. 17 missing black men for every 100 black women. Huh? Is that where they are? They do everything else. I don't know where they are. So again, I say that somewhere, I guess if I got a second now, I'll read this to you. I found that FBI stuff I was looking for.
Okay.
It said FBI agents killed in Virginia were investigating the Boston bombing. And the 2 FBI agents died in a fall from a helicopter in Virginia. They didn't know they was going to kill them. They just thought America loved them.
Right.
The boys upstairs called them punks, useless eaters. That means college professors, cops, all of you. Going to be rounded up and put in jail. And I'm not laughing. I'm laughing. I'll be there with you, too. I'll be there with you, too. But the light, see, when you deal with the universe, the light, and if y'all really want to see, well, you can't see too much now, I already told you, but the helicopter that went up and killed bin Laden, the Navy SEALs, well, bin Laden was killed December 01. So what was that stuff coming out the White House? And now let me tell you the punks. Y'all hear me? Listen to this. Congress to probe helicopter crash of Navy SEAL Team 6 squad that killed bin Laden. All of them are dead. Okay? Now, this is Congress. And then the real boys came in and said, you better leave this alone. I'm going to say this again for you. Congress to probe helicopter crash of Navy SEAL Team 6 squad that killed bin Laden. That happened in America, y'all. In America. 5 of them died in the helicopter, and the 6th one was killed on a rifle range in Texas by a Navy SEAL. Shot him in the head. And it was like 34 folks on the whole mission, 29 of them are dead. And you got to get this from old punk me. You didn't get it from Donald Trump or the New York Times. So this is what it's like. And so I just say, Father's Day, a couple of my children carried me out and said, you raised us, Ma raised us. I said, what's the number one thing you would beat your chest for? I said, the number one thing is I never taught you children to surrender to death. I wasn't a black father that said the police will kill you. I never told you that. I never had you leave that house believing you're not coming back. Now, there was a possibility you could be killed, but you didn't leave that house believing you're going to die. And then your old man, y'all listen to all them radio shows I do, and the one thing I've never done, I've never talked that crap that give white folks a moral holiday. You know, a lot of black folks say, you know, what they want you to say, but let me tell you something about a moral holiday. If you can say anything good about George Washington, then it's like in them punks that had slaves, the one thing is they knew how filthy they was. So they said in Philadelphia, we cannot be a symbol of freedom. We too dirty. And so we, tomorrow, July the 4th, 7th, we're going to take this Liberty Bell, and we're going to take this hammer and hit it. And that will be the face of of liberty. They hit that bell, and the universal God cracked that bell from the bottom all the way up to the top. And they didn't have enough sense to turn it around backward. So when you want to see your symbol of freedom, you want to see your freedom, your democracy, and look at your liberty bell. It's represented by a cracked bell that the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, the Christians, the Muslims, the universal God.
A cracked bell, yeah.
A cracked bell. Okay, Doc, I thank you, man, for everything.
I definitely, brother, thanks for coming on the show once again. I know that people are going to love this. They always appreciate when you come on the show and, drop this information on us. Nobody can do it like you, brother. And I guess I'll talk to you next time, brother.
Whenever you see, all you got to do is call Lil.
Okay. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you, brother.